I've seen stuff like this eat up people, where it's like their whole existence is around like retaliation. Their whole existence is around being angry about this. And, you know, we don't do a very good job as a society storing or dealing with, especially men, dealing with that kind of violation.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're a guy, it's even worse. Like the feeling of, not that it's not bad for women, but like for like a man, that we're taught that we're supposed to be strong and be leaders and that be able to fend off attackers. Right. That's like there's like, we establish like, what's the value, like a self-worth over that. And so like to lose that, especially as a young man, when you're trying to figure yourself out still, and you're trying to figure out like what you can handle and what you can't handle, to figure that out that early, like it wouldn't be beyond belief if you were still around, for you to have still been trying to get that one back. Right. But then what would that mean for you? Right. Like, your whole life has revolved around this one guy. You've given him power. Right.
And like, let's say like I did retaliate and he was just minding his business, and I'd be the one in prison. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be able to backtrack on that type of stuff because time has passed. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I feel like just retaliating any of that stuff for me, I wouldn't do it. But if, let's say I was to get robbed now, at least I know what to do, what not to do, just how I'd approach it. And at least like I could kind of sense and maybe be able to talk them down a little bit, because like I feel like after that happened, all that built up anger, it really changed my just overall attitude. Like I felt like I was just more just angrier about everything.
Do you view people with, I'm curious, do you view people who commit those kinds of crimes, do you see them as like less, or do you think you'd be able to talk to them as a human? Because like the way that I see it is, as much as angry as I'd be, like I would wonder what's going on with that person for you to have to do something like, or to get to that point. Do you see it that way, or do you not?
Yeah. So there's a funny story. My younger brother had this buddy. He was kind of following, because he actually knew that guy who robbed me too. Like he'd hang around their circle, knew who that was, but he was following the same footsteps. And I remember after that happened, like I'm telling him like, hey, none of that's worth it, man. You're going to throw your life away, this and that. And he'd respect me. He understood, but then he'd still go and do his stuff. But he had like respect for me because he saw me, because he didn't have a father either. Like, like I remember his whole family life, like his mom was pretty messed up. And then his dad was like partially in his life, but not like, he was into drugs and stuff like that too. So I remember like he kind of saw me as like a father figure a little bit, just because I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
But I think it was the fact that I was like trying to tell him right from wrong. He just grew like a respect for me. Never did anything to me, but then he'd still be out there, you know, messing around with
Sure.
stealing stuff from them too. Not like robbing people, but just like taking stuff.
Sure.
You know, breaking into cars. So I feel like it depends on how far gone you are, because when I was talking to him, he was already kind of far gone.
Yeah.
If you could talk to somebody, like let's say it's their first robbery, they're scared or something like that, and you try to talk them down, might be a possibility you get them to, you know, give up and just give your stuff back or whatever, you know. But I feel like if someone's too far gone, man, they're not gonna really want it. They'll take it in, but they're not gonna listen.
Like I think about like, would I speak to, even if I was afraid, would I still be able to speak to that person with some form of dignity, like basic human dignity, even if he doesn't treat me that way? Right. Because like I've heard a lot of people talk about like in psychology, right? Like do your best to not base your treatment on others based on how they've treated you. And that's what I'm trying to, I think about when I hear that story like that, about like, if that were to happen to me, you know, would I still be able to give them what they want, right? Because my things aren't worth my life, right? And still be able to say like, you know, I'll get you anything, you can take whatever you want, and then just like still speak to them as a human being. And like, how do you think you would handle that today?
So I feel like a big factor into that, because like I was saying, like I smelled liquor on this guy's breath. I think he was possibly off a pill. I feel like if they're high or drunk and you try talking to them,
it's not going to go nowhere.
That won't go nowhere. So I feel like if they're soberly doing that, I feel like that has a higher chance of talking them down, and if they have a heart too.
Sure.
Like let's say they're robbing somebody because they need money for like to feed their kids or something like that. They may be a little bit more understanding. I feel like it might be a stretch, but you know, they may understand.
You might make like, it might be, for example, you might still be able to link to their soul, to, so to speak.
Yeah. Cause like, let's say like he robs you, but you're with your kids. Right? And then like it might be like a sudden realization, like, what am I doing to rob her? Could be, but it's just there's so much psychology behind this stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's really no way to know, especially when it's happening to you like that. I think the best thing, and we'll kind of close it off with this last section of questions. I think like the biggest thing is you can't control it, right? No matter what you think you can do, like everybody can take a million lessons in self-defense. We could all sit here and be like, I'm the most prepared person ever now because of something like that. And then something will happen and it'll catch you off guard. We're all human beings. Like sometimes you come home from work, you're tired. You don't think about, oh, I got to be ready for somebody to rob me. Even if you've been through something like that, right? So there are some days where I come home and I sit in my car. I remember one of my junior Marines saying, cause he used to work for, those companies that like take money from, like they pick up money and drop off money from certain like retail locations, like Brinks.
Oh yeah. Like a bank.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So like he used to do that stuff. And so he used to tell me that biggest thing he thinks about is like when he's sitting in his car, he doesn't sit in his car. Like if he's done driving, he doesn't sit in like on his phone, and because he says that that's something that is commonly what happens with people when they get robbed, like carjacked, is that they're sitting and not paying attention to their surroundings, and it's late at night, right? Like you just get home from work. And so it's like, even if you work that, right, and you're the most prepared person, you have a firearm on you or whatever, sometimes there will be days you will come home and nothing happens to you. So you're just like, whatever. Yep. And that's the day, right? I think ultimately the biggest thing we can take away from that is accept that we can't control it, right? First of all, we can't control it, and forgive ourselves for not being the most intelligent person in a scenario like that.